Leadership can take many forms. Some leaders rely on authority, others rely on experience, strategy, or reputation. But every once in a while, someone appears who inspires people through something far simpler. He doesn't command a fleet, he doesn't give long-winded speeches about leadership. Most of the time, he just wings it. Yet everywhere Luffy goes, people place their trust in him. Swordsmen risk their lives for him. Navigators entrust him with their freedom. Warriors admire his bravery. And cooks wonder how someone that fearless can also eat that much. So what makes Luffy worth following? Is it the hat, his smile, or the fact that he can reach the fridge from the couch? Luffy carries absolute certainty about who he is and where he's going, and that certainty has a powerful effect on those around him. People follow Luffy for a reason. His conviction gives them the courage to chase the dreams they once thought impossible. Season 2 of Netflix's One Piece has arrived, and the journey now leads Luffy and his crew into the Grand Line. The Grand Line is infamous among sailors, a stretch of ocean where weather shifts without warning, powerful pirates dominate the seas, and the dangers grow far beyond anything found in the East Blue. Many ships attempt the journey, few make it very far. Their first steps into the Grand Line takes them through places like Whiskey Peak, where danger hides behind celebration, Little Garden, an island frozen in a prehistoric past, and Drum Island, a snow-covered kingdom where the crew encounters both hardship and new allies. Through every new island and every new danger, Luffy lets the world know that he will become Pirate King. Behind him stands Zoro, a swordsman whose ambition is nothing less than becoming the greatest in the world. Nami navigates the crew through unpredictable seas, driven by her dream of mapping the entire world. Usopp, often the most hesitant among them, continues working to become a brave warrior of the sea. Sanji, the crew's cook, sails alongside them with the dream of finding the legendary All Blue, a sea said to contain fish from every ocean in the world. The Straw Hats pick up 2 new members during their journey through the Grand Line, and each one joins for the same reason: Luffy's conviction. Let's just say he has a way of inspiring people. One of those new allies is Vivi. No, not this Vivi, but this Vivi, a princess traveling in secret to save her kingdom from the growing threat of Baroque works. She sails with the crew while searching for a way to stop the conflict threatening her home. Going back to the other Vivi real quick, I'm still waiting for a remake of FF9. It's one of my favorite stories, and Vivi is such a great character. He's a black mage, and he comes from a village that Another new member is Chopper, a reindeer who gained human intelligence after eating a devil fruit. He has quite the backstory, and episode 7 was heartfelt and bittersweet. The other reindeer rejected Chopper because of his blue nose. The humans didn't treat him any better. They saw him and immediately opened fire. Caught between 2 worlds, Chopper grew up alone, believing he was nothing more than a monster. But his story takes a different turn when he meets Dr. Hiraluk, the quack doctor. Sailing with Luffy gives Chopper the chance to pursue his dream of becoming a doctor, capable of curing every disease in the world. Because every person who joins Luffy's crew carries something powerful with them: a dream. Long before the Grand Line, Luffy's conviction began forming during his childhood in a small seaside village. There he met Shanks, a pirate captain whose calm confidence left a lasting impression on him. Watching Shanks and his crew showed Luffy a different kind of strength: the freedom of the sea, loyalty between friends, and the courage to face danger without hesitation. And Luffy wanted that life too. Before leaving the village, Shanks entrusted Luffy with his straw hat and asked him to return it someday once he became a great pirate. From that moment on, the dream was clear. Luffy would set out to sea and chase that promise. And as others joined his journey, that belief began to take form, giving them the courage to chase their own dreams. Dreams are easy to talk about. Chasing them is something else entirely. Take Zoro. He is completely committed to becoming the world's greatest swordsman. It's a purpose he's willing to sacrifice everything for: pain, defeat, and even his own life. That dream nearly came to an end when he crossed paths with Mihawk last season. As strong as Zoro is, that fight revealed the enormous gap between where he stood and where he wanted to be. For the first time, Zoro faced the possibility that his dream might be far beyond his reach. But seeing Luffy continue forward without hesitation reminded Zoro why he started chasing that dream in the first place. In many ways, Zoro is chasing a dream and a ghost. The ghost of the man who defeated him still haunts the path ahead. Somewhere out there, Mihawk still waits at the end of that path. But Zoro isn't the only one carrying a dream across the Grand Line. Chopper's dream stands out too. It all started with a story and evolved into a visual representation of hope. A Jolly Roger with a skull and crossbones surrounded by cherry blossoms. For years, the flag stayed locked away in a chest, waiting for the right person to come along. And he did. Luffy encouraged Chopper to take the flag out, because all flags, especially his, should be displayed proudly. The flag serves as proof proof that even the sickest heart could bloom again. Chopper always believed he was a monster, until Luffy grinned and said he was one too, as if it didn't matter at all. Moments like this reveal something important about Luffy. He pursues his dream with unshakable belief, while giving the same respect to the dreams of everyone around him. When someone carries that kind of belief, it has a way of lifting people through difficult times. You know, like waiting for a Final Fantasy IX remake. Belief inspires people, but belief alone isn't always enough. Luffy's leadership shows itself in how far he's willing to go for his crew. Like in episode 6, when Nami falls seriously ill and the only doctor on Drum Island lives atop a frozen mountain. Her condition keeps getting worse, and Luffy refuses to take the long way around the mountain. So he climbs the mountain himself, carrying Nami through snow, ice, and brutal winds. No plan, no hesitation, no Google. That's how Luffy leads. When his friends' lives are at stake, Luffy charges forward with the same enthusiasm he shows whenever someone mentions meat. If that's not next level devotion, I don't know what is. And sometimes that devotion shows up in the most ridiculous situations. Like in episode 5, when Zoro, Nami, and Vivi are trapped on top of a giant cake of melting wax. Mr. 3 tries to break them both mentally and physically for the sake of what he calls art. I have a love-hate relationship with villains who call themselves artists. They're just so, you know. Anyway, where was I? In the midst of it all, Zoro does something interesting even while slowly being covered in wax. Rather than bowing to fear, he strikes a pose in defiance. A pose so heroic that even Mr. 3 has to stop and admire the commitment. Zoro assures Vivi that Luffy will come to rescue them. And he did, with a little help from Usopp. For someone at the center of the story, Luffy surprisingly spends very little time talking about himself. Sure, he often tells people that he's going to be king of the pirates, but that's about it. Beyond that, most conversations with Luffy tend to revolve around his search for the One Piece, or his constant hunger for food, which, to be fair, is probably a side effect of how good Sanji's cooking is. This man cooks, fights, mixes a mean drink, and apparently believes every woman he meets is the love of his life. A man after my own heart. Luffy rarely puts himself into words. The people around him are the ones who end up describing who he really is. In episode 4, Vivi questions Luffy's leadership style and how he ignored Robin's offer of safety. Why? Because he does exactly what he always does, whatever he believes in. As Nami answers Vivi's question, she says something that stuck with me throughout the remainder of the season. When you see it, you see it. And that might be the simplest way to explain Luffy. He leads with action and his gut, a gut feeling that more often than not turns out to be right. Luffy and the Straw Hats push deeper into the Grand Line, and with every new island, the tide begins to turn. Dreams that once felt distant suddenly feel possible again. Zoro keeps fighting for the title of world's greatest swordsman, even if some of those battles are with ghosts from his past. Nami continues charting the world one island at a time, and along the journey, her trust in her captain has grown just as strong as her dream. Usopp keeps taking small steps toward becoming the brave warrior he always imagined. Vivi continues fighting in her own way, doing everything she can to save her kingdom from tearing itself apart. And Chopper once believed he was broken. He saw himself a monster who didn't deserve a place among people. But like the cherry blossoms on Hero Luck's flag, he begins to grow into something remarkable. And with the Straw Hats, he finally finds a place where he belongs. And Sanji, well, his biggest challenge might be remembering to stay focused whenever a beautiful woman walks into the room. Dreams are easy to talk about. Acting on them takes conviction. And that's what separates a good leader from a great leader. Great leaders inspire others through their choices, not just words. Luffy's choices show people what courage looks like, long before he ever says a word. Netflix's One Piece captures the emotional beats that made the anime and manga so memorable. Time and time again, those moments remind us why the crew keeps sailing, because the greatest parts of their journey still lie ahead. Luffy's dream through the Grand Line continues to pull everyone along with him. People don't follow him because he asked them to. They follow because they believe in where he's going. Because when you see it, you see it. Thanks for watching, and as always, remember to save your progress. This adventure is only getting started. If you made it to the end of the video, please consider liking and subscribing. It really helps the channel. Thanks.